It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and we will begin the Sun Prairie Common Council meeting. Can we please take the roll?
Absolutely. Rosas?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Here.
Comstock?
Aye.
Crombie?
Aye.
Dringler?
Here.
Jacobs?
Here.
Owens?
Here.
We
Okay,
have 8
thank you.
members present.
Thank you. We have quorum. As you're able, would you please stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll open it up for comments. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. That passes. Bless you. Okay, petitions and communications, citizen appearance, public comment. We do have one person who would like to make a public comment. Sunshine Anderson, please. You could please come forward and please state your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, alders, mayor, and neighbors. My name is Sunshine Anderson, and I live at 1442 Thoreau Drive. Tonight marks the first council meeting after I left my job that I was passionate about at the city's historical museum. I am here to tell you why I left, as well as to shed some light on an alarming pattern in our city government. We, the people, are here to illustrate that we all want to shine a light on these concerns. This is a group of concerned community members and well-respected former staff. Prior to last fall, I was proud to work for our city. I had no intention of leaving my position prior to the referendum vote in April. It was an underlying stress for staff, of course, but it was manageable, nothing that we couldn't handle. That is until questionable data from the fall community survey was used by administration to justify the targeting of particular divisions through hasty and arbitrary decisions that should belong to this council. The survey data that administration has leaned on for these decisions was skewed and incorrectly analyzed. No city staff should have had their job directly threatened in fall of 2025 because administrators were reactive and short-sighted regarding survey data. Despite my love for the museum and connecting this community to its past, the options we as staff were presented with were either to severely reduce the museum funding and cut ourselves, or the museum would be closed entirely. That's an awful ultimatum to be presented with, let alone to be given 24 hours to answer, and neither of those options were instructed by council. The cuts that we were asked for were, according to our city administrator, quote, arbitrary, and based upon numbers that appeared to listen to resident responses. As outlined in the email that I sent to this council on February 11th, the city administrator seemed to exercise a lot of decision-making power, stating that, quote, I have to give council a path to go or they'll create their own, and then it's whatever. Who knows where it goes? So I'm trying to give them a solution in a short amount of time, or I don't, and I let council do whatever they're going to do, end quote. I could be wrong, but I think we elect you to do exactly that, whatever you are going to do. During the 2025 Employee Summit, the administration said that staff cuts and layoffs as a result of the referendum would not be announced until fall 2026 at the earliest. Yet in fall of 2025, multiple staff were informed their positions would be reduced or eliminated due to just the referendum survey results. Let's discuss the ongoing case between the city and the former Sustainability and Resilience Manager, Dr. Rose Daly. Anyone interested in reading the demand letter sent by Dr. Daly's legal counsel can review Public Record Request 25-2026. Following administration's proposal to eliminate the part-time sustainability position, one of only 2 positions that works directly on the council's sustainable Sun Prairie priority, Dr. Daly provided a state of sustainability presentation at the November 4th Committee of the Whole meeting at the request of one of you, the alders. As you may recall, council voted not only to maintain the position, but to increase it to full-time, in direct contrast with the administration's proposal. Shortly after the vote, Dr. Daly's performance evaluation was downgraded, and her telecommuting agreement was abruptly changed without prior concerns. When she attempted to correct inaccuracies in the revised agreement and request legal review, she was denied and told she would face more severe consequences if she did not sign immediately, all of which is documented in the public record. How can we as taxpayers expect to retain talented staff under these conditions? We are losing staff, and it is not just because of a looming referendum. You have seen a mass exodus of talented staff who left without jobs lined up. We just knew we needed out. When remaining staff in vulnerable positions are asked about their comfort with bringing issues up to the city administrator or chief of staff, they say, quote, "I would fully expect to be retaliated against if you brought up these concerns with administration," end quote. That quote was stated to one of you last week and should be enough to raise questions. If you cannot look out for your staff its entirety, you are not serving the people of Sun Prairie, you are serving some of the more highly paid folks in your local government. Some may argue that personnel issues are not any of the council's or the public's business. But if the staff are unable to carry out the policy set forth by the council because it doesn't align with administration's priorities, how is it not a council issue? In my eyes, we have 2 major issues. 1, staff are experiencing poor treatment from administration based on the department that they work for. 2, the administration exists to deliver the policies decided upon by the council, not the other way around. I do not think that's how this city is currently operating. Council, you receive information through a bottleneck. You have to trust your administration because everything goes through them. But now you have more vulnerable former staff coming forward with very serious concerns. I believe I am the first to speak out publicly because I am both a resident and taxpayer of Sun Prairie, and I am privileged enough to have the support necessary to leave a hostile work environment. You will find in your email inboxes tomorrow another set of recordings of administration staff stating the City Council's priorities are not priorities to them. We are prepared to continue to share recordings and evidence of mistreatment of staff to help you see what we have had to quietly carry for months. Tonight, I have brought you a simple ask and a way to fund it. I am calling on you, our elected officials, to place a referral tonight for the immediate management performance audit of city administration. In case any of you would like to take a note, that was a management performance audit of our city administration. I am now aware of how the administration has been operating behind closed doors for months, and it's time to bring any shady actions to light. This audit should also give us a better idea of how we can run this city more efficiently. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, especially trust. You need your residents to trust that you can oversee the funds that they might grant you in April, and it will go towards serving them and not settling lawsuits from former employees. Another piece of why I left my job was to offer you the way to pay for this audit. Between the resignation of both myself and the museum's former director, you should have nearly $200,000 in saved wages this year that could be reallocated toward this. I understand that could harm the museum's ability to reclaim those wages in 2026 in the event that the referendum passes, but I believe it is worth dipping into as a service to our full community. I urge you to act tonight. You have to believe it is worth dipping into, you have a lot of ground to cover to earn votes for this referendum, and this is an excellent way for you to demonstrate your willingness to look at every corner of our government for efficiencies. The referral we call for tonight is non-binding. It will have to be voted on, but we need someone to be brave enough to say that there are enough concerns this is worth looking into. It is time to audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine. Okay, are there any other public comments before we move on? Okay, hearing none, we're on to the business of the mayor, and I have the privilege tonight to present proclamations for the Black History Month. For those of you that are here, would you please come to the podium? If you would like your families to come up also, more than welcome. Come on up. This proclamation is always very special, but tonight, especially in light of Reverend Jesse Jackson's passing, who was there with Dr. Martin Luther King at the time of his death, I think this makes it very special, even more special. So tonight we have a proclamation for Black History Month, and let me read what it has to say. Whereas February is officially designated as Black History Month, a time to earnestly reflect upon and educate about the historical injustices inflicted upon African Americans, it also provides the opportunity to celebrate the significant political, economic, and cultural contributions made by individuals within the African American community. And whereas Black History Month originates from the establishment of Black History Week, led by Carter G. Woodson, Minister Jesse E. Moreland, and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas, after 50 years from the first celebration of Black History Week in 1926, it has evolved and expanded into Black History Month. And whereas the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, led by figures such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, John Lewis, and many others, resulted in the significant legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, ensuring greater protections for Americans of diverse backgrounds. And whereas it is imperative to pay homage to the numerous African American leaders of the past who, in the face of adversity, achieved remarkable progress and accomplishments. Simultaneously, we recognize those presently shaping history and anticipate those who will continue to contribute significantly in the future. And whereas African Americans constitute a vital population of Sun Prairie, making countless contributions to our community, our state, our nation, and beyond. And whereas it is essential to recognize that racism still exists today, and we must never grow weary of striving to be a people who stand up against injustice and continue supporting those who are making a difference. And whereas the city of Sun Prairie is committed to living out our guiding principles of advancing equity, honoring our diverse identity, and creating an inclusive culture for all who seek to live, work, and play here. Now, therefore, I, Stephen C. Stocker, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor on behalf of the city of Sun Prairie, hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month and encourage everyone to acknowledge and celebrate the many achievements and contributions of our African American community members this month and beyond. Thank you. I think Mark wants to get a picture. So why don't you, everybody come on out here. Action. What did you buy? Oh, man. What did you buy? Yes, it's black. I love it. Might be my
Giovanni doesn't care.
Okay, so would any or all of you like to speak? You're more than welcome. Sure. Okay. There you go.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mayor.
For coming. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you for coming. God bless you and good night.
I should have prepared. I shouldn't have let him go first. How you follow that up? I want to say thank you for this proclamation and for recognition of Black History Month. But I want to be honest. For many Black residents, moments like this come with mixed emotions. We love this community, but too often we don't feel fully seen, served, or represented. So I stand here grateful, but also asking that these words are matched with real action. There's a quote from a dear friend that said, in the South, you can be close, but not equal. And in the North, you can be equal, but not close. It's just a tad from our history. And that tension is real, not always loud, but present. It shows up in unconscious bias and decisions and what gets overlooked. Black residents have always had to be aware of how we're perceived, how we move, just to navigate spaces that should already feel like home. Now, I want to acknowledge those who have truly tried to move things forward. People like Merlin Ruffin, Jamie Racine, Tracy Frank, Lisa Goldsberry, Alwyn Foster, Larry Tabron, Pastor Hawkins, LaToya Holiday, Taryn. But let's be real. Equity is not always, and this is for council. Equity is not always front of mind, and that's exactly why I ran. I got tired of decisions being made for us without fully understanding how they impact us. And I care about everyone. I've made decisions, some even against my people, that weren't easy because I believe in justice for all, and I believe in justice for the whole, not selective. We talk about equity, diversity, and inclusion, but we're actually doing what does it say? Doing to understand lived, to understand lived experiences and reflect that in our actions, because you can't represent people you don't understand. What hurts is that many of us feel seen only in moments like this, or after we speak up. By then, trust has already been tested and eroded. Our stories have been shared, but too often they're not carried. Not too often the actions aren't carried forward. I don't believe most of this is intentional, but intent doesn't erase impact. If you've never had to think about your identity and how it affects your safety, your opportunities, it's easy not to notice. But many of us, that's never been optional. And still, we show up, we contribute, we advocate, not just for ourselves, but for what's right. All we're asking is for that to be reciprocated, not just in words, but in action. And who's at the table, who's heard, and whether our experiences actually shape decisions. Because if we get that right, together, there's no limitations that this community can overcome. I learned a lot when I was on council, but what I did learn is I learned more in what wasn't said than what was said. I've learned a lot by questions that have been asked to me and what prompted those questions. It takes love for humanity to turn things around. It takes commitment, and it takes commitment to truth to truly overcome. Our elected officials should be servicing and representing all, not just some. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Stocker, for taking the time tonight to formally recognize Black History Month in our city. We want to thank the community members that are here to witness and celebrate the moment together. Before I begin remarks, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson, who created opportunities for generations of African Americans and inspired countless more. And we extend condolences to those who loved him. We are in 2026, nearly 60 years after the height of the civil rights movement and over 250 years since the founding of this country. Yet we still pause each year to reflect on Black history because of the story of Black Americans is not only one of contribution, it is also one of persistent exclusion, resistance, and unfinished equity. For centuries, Black labor, Black intellect, and Black culture have been foundational to this nation's prosperity, while Black communities have simultaneously been denied fair access to opportunity, stability, and safety. While the forms of discrimination have changed, the outcomes have not disappeared. Many Black families today still face disproportionate barriers in housing, health, education, and economic security. That is why proclamations like this matter. They signal values. They declare who we are and what we claim to stand for as a city. But proclamations are not endpoints, they are commitments. The words in this proclamation say that Sun Prairie is committed to advancing equity, honoring diversity, and creating an inclusive culture for all who live, work, and belong here. The real question is whether our policies, budgets, and decisions consistently reflect those same principles. Black History Month should not only be about remembrance, it should be about alignment. Alignment between our values and our governance. Alignment between what we say publicly and what we fund, approve, and prioritize. As both a resident of this community and someone who serves within this city, I offer this not as criticism, but as a charge. Let this proclamation be a living document. Let it guide decisions, not just ceremonies. Let it show up in the tangible conditions of people's lives. Because honoring Black history is not symbolic, it's structural. And the legacy that we leave will be measured not by what we've proclaimed, but by what we have made possible.
Good evening, Mayor Olin Ruffin, the first Black elected official here in Sun Prairie, 2015 to 2021. Thank you for this proclamation for Black History Month, but do know that Black history is every day, 365 days, 12 months out of the year. Here in Sun Prairie, as the creator and the founder of the Beam Awards, Black people need people who believe in Black people enough not to believe everything bad they hear about Black people. Keep that in mind. Know once again that Black history is every day, just not celebrated in the month of February. And with Sun Prairie as our community, thank you for allowing us to be here today.
Well, hello, you guys. Hello, you guys. My name is Action, CEO and founder of Jackson's Yard Care and Workforce Development. I was pretty shocked when I heard that I was going to get this plaque today, but I came and I just wanted to share something with everybody. Is that I don't have no speech. I come with straight heart, straight real, and the bottom line, I'm a straight shooter. And I don't come in here asking for what people can do for me. I ask, what can I do for you? And that's how I do it. And when I think about Black History Month, I think about everybody that put their life on the line to carry out something that they wanted to carry for years, right? And it's just respect. And it's just really love. And it's really what can we do and help each other. But it's a line between that saying, and it's noticeable. So what do we do? And I don't have that answer. But what can I do? That's what I can answer. And that's what I represent. But when I thought about what I was going to say tonight, I really want to represent my uncle. People that really showed up. My uncle, Pastor Larry Jackson, just passed away last week, and rest his heart. But he showed me how to give that extra 10%, okay? Not 100%, but that 110%. All right? And that's a big difference. Because, yeah, you can go out and do a good job. And matter of fact, I'm going to tell a short story. I did a job for my uncle, and I said, Uncle, I'm done. He said, oh, it's a good job, but it ain't finished. I said, well, I did everything we talked about. And yet, I couldn't see him. He was just sitting there smiling at me. He said, nephew, if you just did that spot right there, that would have made my day. And that touched me. That hit me. And I didn't even know what he was teaching me. But as life went on, I connected those dots. And that's what I say. What can I do for you? And I live by his morals. I live by that 10%. And it talks to me every day. That's why I do what I do every single day. I get up knowing that I'm going to die one day. You should too. Because that's the only truth between that line and that sin. Okay? And another thing I wanted to say, rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. When I was paralyzed, when I couldn't walk as a young boy, my mother put me in the front of the line when Jesse James came down here. And Jesse James recognized me. And he brought us to the back, and he gave me this apple, and he prayed, and he put his hands on me. I was a young man. I didn't really know it back then what it meant. But when he died today, and I got this today, that means life always spins round the block. So with that, you guys, just what can you do for the community that we live in? That's it.
Congratulations. Good job. Good to see you. Hello. How are you?
And if anybody ever heard this on TV before, and always remember, you have the right to a beautiful yard. Jackson's Yard Care.
Thank you. Okay, on to committee reports. We'll go to the Plan Commission meeting. Alder Rosas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lake City Auto LLC requests approval of the conditional use permit, COP, for accessory outdoor display and sales for a car dealership at 526 Commercial Avenue, PC 26-3304. Overview, the Lake City Auto LLC is requesting approval of the conditional use permit for accessory outside display and sales of a car dealership at 526 Commercial Avenue. Lake City Auto intends to relocate and expand their automotive service center and dealership to this location. The property's zone urban industry, UI, and indoor maintenance, for example, an auto service center, is allowed by right. However, permanent outdoor display and sales is an accessory use. Car sales is only allowed with approval of the COP. And I move approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, on to Public Works. Alder Comstock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the engineering department review of the city standard specifications. If you'd like to go through those one by one, we could certainly do that, but I bet nobody does. If, as you look at that, you'll notice that there are some changes made in the language, and I believe that that's for clarity. I don't know if Tom is here tonight. Tom, do you want to speak on this, or would you rather just sit back there? Well, I'm good. I'm good. Unless everybody wants to talk about every one of these little things, then I can't help. So, okay. So what the staff is recommending is that are the revisions that you see in these standards. So with that, I am going to make a motion that we accept and approve those revisions as presented.
Baker will second.
There you go.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. That passes. On to B.
Secondly, the recycle refuse contract that we have with Prairie, we discussed this at our last meeting regarding the contract extension. Came to council as a recommendation for a 6-month contract extension, and then we got word that Prairie was not comfortable with that, and they would prefer to do the year long, but they would accept an 8-month extension. It went back to Public Works, reviewed there, where it was approved for an 8-month extension. So with that, I will make a motion that we approve the extension with Prairie for 8 months.
Do we hear a second?
Baker will second.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
Yep.
Alder Jacobs.
I would ask Alder Comstock or anyone else on that committee if they can share with us any of the discussion that took place. I didn't see that meeting. I'm just kind of curious. Was there concerns about doing it longer or shorter or various performance questions? I'm simply because I just don't know and I didn't watch the video.
Yeah, I can respond to that a little bit, and then perhaps we've got a couple of other alders here, and they might want to talk about it as well. I think that one of the concerns is, do we have enough time for an RFP to get that RFP ready? And we are assured by staff that yes, they could do that. One thing that was really important was that we not break up service, that service continues. And I think that that's why, one reason why the 8-month contract was a little bit better, the 8-month extension was a little bit better. I don't recall us talking about any concerns about Prairie or concerns about the collection. It's just that we wanted to take an RFP and go about that way. And I don't know if Alder Baker, Alder Rosas.
Same thing.
Is that a question?
No, I just wanted to know if you wanted to respond to Alder Jacobs.
We did talk about it in the committee, and I had some serious concerns about that. That's one of the reasons why I requested for 6 months. But the Prairie representative said he wanted to work with the city. I was open for that. And at the meeting, he suggested he was willing to go 8 months. I had no issue with that. We compromised, and that's what we voted on.
So you said you had serious concerns. What were those serious concerns?
I had 3 experience with Prairie not picking up my trash and also refuge. And when I called them, they said, sure, we'll come back, and they would charge me extra. And I wasn't the only one. I received 3 other calls. I don't know if they called Prairie or not. I was not happy with their service, and I feel it's probably time, since they've been with the city for the last over 10 years, that perhaps we open up for another bid. And I also made it real clear that, I wasn't picking on them. If they come up with the lowest bid, then we'll go with them. But I think we should look at other vendors as well.
Okay, if I may ask one more question, just because I couldn't open the PDF. What was the count of the vote for this?
It was unanimous.
Unanimous, okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion?
Okay, hearing none, since this does have a fiscal impact, could we have a roll call vote, please? Absolutely. Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Dringler,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Owens.
Aye.
It passes 8-0. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, next item.
The next item has to do with the official traffic map. It includes the codes for controlling traffic, and what the staff is asking for is the opportunity to make modest changes without bringing it to council first. The reason for doing that relates directly to safety. There's sometimes something like moving from a yield sign to a stop sign. Sometimes that that kind of a change is necessary for its safety, and they want to make that happen before it comes to council, because it's a timing issue more than anything else. And it is not intended for major kinds of changes, but for changing a yield sign to a stop sign is a good example of that. It was approved by Public Works unanimously, and I will bring that forward as a motion that we approve the request that they are making to make those changes independent of council action. However, it will be brought to council even after the change is made for final approval.
Thank you, Alder Comstock. Since this is a first reading, we'll bring it back for a motion on March 3rd, I believe. We'll bring that one back. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, could you, for the benefit of the audience, explain what first reading means, please?
Yeah, first reading is the process where we present to the public and to this body a item that council will be voting on. So there's a time lag between the first reading and the second for people to actually go into the details and dig more into what this motion would do. So the second reading will be when we vote, and that will be normally at the next council meeting, which is March 3rd. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the library board. Since I'm the liaison, I will read this one. Approval of the Sun Prairie Public Library geothermal change order number 9 for contract number 24-LIB13. This is a staff recommendation that the council moved to approve, and I do have a jot form from Crystal Johnson. And for full transparency, Crystal is a board member of our library board member. And Crystal has let's see. Okay, as a member of the Sun Prairie Library Board, I request that the City Council approve these change orders. Library Board Director Swetha and Project Manager Kevin have worked diligently on this reconstruction of our beautiful library. This change order was needed to ensure the project proceeded on time and with low impact to both the city, the vendors, and staff. I ask that this board look at this change order as a requirement of business. The board did express concern of when we learned of this need, but we have requested changes in that process to ensure full transparency for the City Council and the residents of Sun Prairie. Crystal supports the item and will not speak at the meeting. And we do have Swetha and Kevin in the audience if you have any questions.
I'd like to make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Just pick one.
Any discussion? Alder Rosas.
I'd like to have, so that's up here, I just have one question. Just for public record,
Sure.
the funding is coming from where?
Our funding is coming from our capital project
The
fund.
contingent fund? Is that a contingent fund?
That's correct. There's a contingency fund for the
Okay.
construction, and it's coming out of that.
Okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, I think I would ask for a roll call vote on this too, please, Kathleen.
Sure. So this is a motion to approve the change order. Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Owens.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Thank you, Kathleen. Next item is the approval of the Sun Prairie Public Library existing parking lot rehabilitation change order number 10 for contract number 24-LIB 13. And again, staff recommends to council to approve this item. Not sure if you've had the opportunity to read what was in the packet. Can I offer a motion, or if you would like Swetha or Kevin to come forward?
Approval.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Kathleen, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Owens.
Aye.
That passes.
Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you, Kevin and Swetha, for being here tonight. Okay, next item, new business. Resolution establishing compensation for election officials and election support staff. Elena, there you are. I thought I saw you in there. I thought,
Yes, I snuck in.
normally I see you sitting here, but
Yes. Okay, so this item is a resolution establishing compensation rates for election officials and election support staff. The city has an established pay structure for election workers that's been applied consistently through our payroll process. This resolution, though, formalizes those existing rates and provides a clear policy reference for council and staff. The costs are already included in the adopted 2026 budget, and staff would recommend approval.
thank you, Elena. Okay, what does the body's
I'll move to
choice?
approve.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Kathleen, could we please take the roll, since this does have fiscal impact?
Rosas,
Aye.
Baker,
Aye.
Comstock,
Aye.
Crombie,
Aye.
Drangler,
Aye.
Jacobs,
Aye.
Owens.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, next item is a resolution approving an application for a Class C wine license from Sun Prairie Nails and Spa located at 120 North Grand Avenue, Suite 104, and the agent is Rod Casperson. And Rod is in the audience to speak, but Elena?
Thank you. So I have some things to bring to your attention, but I actually want to start with one of my last points. So I just want to make sure that it's understood that my recommendation isn't about this applicant personally. It's about making sure that we have a broader policy discussion before expanding Class C licenses to non-restaurant service environments. So I kind of wanted to just start there. So the reason that I brought this forward is because the state law did change in May of 2024. Before that, Class C licenses were limited to restaurants. And alcohol had to be less than 50% of their gross receipts. That requirement has been removed. So technically, this type of business can now apply. But there are a few important changes that didn't take place. First, the sanitation requirement is still in the statute. So even though it's no longer limited to restaurants, the premises still has to meet restaurant sanitation standards under the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. So it's not simply adding wine service. It does mean that the premises has to comply with restaurant-level sanitation regulations and inspection requirements. Second, the underage access rules did not change. So under Section 125.07, Parent 3, minors cannot be on a Class B or Class C licensed premises unless they are accompanied by a parent, legal guardian, or spouse of legal drinking age, or unless a specific exception applies. So there is a restaurant-related exception in the statute. So in a traditional restaurant, that works. In a nail salon setting, that exception most likely doesn't apply. So practically speaking, if we issue this license, unaccompanied minors would not be allowed on the premises to receive services. And that would change how this business operates. Teenagers couldn't walk in alone for appointments. I also want to be clear that staff has completed all the required inspections and background investigations. There is nothing in those reports that would prohibit issuance. So this is not about a disqualifying conduct or anything about like that. This is about policy. Historically, we have denied a similar application from this type of business. And right now, we're reviewing our alcohol licensing code in light of the state changes. In conversations with the Department of Revenue, they've shared that some municipalities have chosen to write the restaurant-style limitations back into their ordinances. And that would be one policy option for Sun Prairie to consider. So ultimately, this is about what we want, we, as in you guys, want for Sun Prairie. Alcohol licenses are privileges. The point at which we have the most discretion is at issuance. Once we issue a license, we've set precedent, and it becomes much harder to either not issue, revoke, or non-renew later unless there's statutory cause. So staff would recommend denying this license without prejudice so that it can come back, so to allow us to address the policy issue before we address issuing a Class C license to an establishment other than a restaurant.
Thank you, Elena. And before we get into the motion, there's three of us sitting up here at the dais. I believe the reference you made was, I think it was Killer Maine, was the hair salon a few years ago. And I don't know if Alder Crombie or Alder Jacobs, if you recall that discussion, if you want to speak to it.
I don't remember the details, but I do have some questions about procedures / parliamentary about, and I don't know if this goes to Kathleen or to you, Elena. So, I mean, I'm disinclined to deny simply because it sends a message that I'm not sure that we want to send. I wonder if we can table that till we work out a policy, because we have expanded the sale of alcohol to other businesses. And it seems to me that by the way you read this, that teenagers wouldn't be able to come there. I think that's for that business to decide. Okay, fine, we're not going to have teenagers. Maybe that would be up to them. I'm just not sure how to proceed, but I agree with you. I'm not ready to approve. I'm not ready to approve. I'm just hesitant to deny.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, that's why I said without prejudice, because we do have a new restriction that if we do deny it, someone can't reapply within a certain amount of time. So that's why I did it that way. I believe that really licenses, we have to make some kind of motion, so it's either going to be to grant or to deny. You could postpone it. I don't know what Kathleen's interpretation on that. I've always been taught that it's best to not table things indefinitely if we don't know when it's coming back. But I will share that I am working on the ordinance actively right now. Hopefully we will be discussing this soon. But that's why it's the deny without prejudice, even though that word is very negative sounding.
Alder Rosas.
I just have one question here. Anytime you serve alcohol, you need someone to serve it, and that's the bartender.
Yes.
Don't you need a bartender's license? Does this person have, is there a bartender in this establishment?
There probably will be. It's a class that you have to take, a responsible beverage server training class.
No, I'm all familiar with that, yeah.
So they would definitely have to have somebody who is licensed on premise at all times. And I guess the other thing I wanted to point out is the difference between a Class A and a Class C is the Class A would have limited to certain sample sizes. A Class C means they can sell as many glasses of wine as they want. So, I mean, it does become, it's more.
I can go in and pick up my 40.
Just a follow-up question, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Elena, I'm not sure if it was this establishment or another, but, my wife and I like to go and get some pedicure and stuff. And there was one establishment that was serving wine. And I don't remember if it was here in the Sun Prairie, but can they do that without any license?
They cannot.
I
If
cannot.
it was
Okay.
in some
That's
Prairie,
fine.
it was
Okay.
without a license.
Okay.
I think we've had some good questions, and Mr. Casperson is in the audience. If you would like to come forward, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, Alder
may I?
Baker.
What's the time limit if we deny today? What's the time limit or the?
Well, because there is an application on the books, I would be trying to fast track working with Kathleen to bring this. I'm not even sure if we bring it to ALRB first and then they make a recommendation, but because we have someone who's interested in it, I am motivated to at least get this Class C, issue on your docket to talk about and discuss.
Hello, board. My name is Rod Casperson. I'm the owner of Sun Prairie Nail and Spa. And I just brought this up because I thought it would be just an extra thing to help out our clients and things like that. Just a little extra perk, I guess. And we were going to, as I stated in the application, we're going to be limiting it to just one. I didn't know exactly all the additional rules. I thought I read over everything pretty good. I didn't interpret the restaurant thing exactly correctly, but I just wanted to at least keep the idea open. We're willing to work with whatever the board decides, whatever restrictions, and including a review period also if we needed to. So that's just very simple items that I just wanted to bring up for consideration for the future.
Alder Rosas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Casperson, I have a couple questions here.
Mm-hmm.
You just heard me ask the city clerk here if you needed a licensed bartender to serve alcohol. Do you have one in your establishment?
In my past life before a nail salon, I was a bartender in the city of Milwaukee. I had a bartending license. In addition, the rules state that we do need to take the class, which all four of us owners have already taken the online class, but I interpret it as we did need to have a bartending license, and we were planning to do that for all four owners of the nail salon, so somebody's there at all times. So I was under the assumption that we had to get a bartending license just because we were serving, no matter if it's one or two, whatever it is.
What is your hours there?
From 8 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night.
Are you going to be there that time, 7 days a week when you're open?
We have four owners, and yes, every owner is there at all times because, to be honest, it's a somewhat cash business, and we like to keep the honest people honest.
I'm going to stretch this a little bit because I served in the Alcohol License Review Board in Madison. And when they served alcohol, one of the biggest concerns was over-serving. And they also recommended putting food so people wouldn't get intoxicated. Are you going to be serving food here as well?
We didn't plan it because, again, we are limiting it to one per person because we're not selling it. We were, to keep our costs in line, we were just going to do as a complimentary one, not while you're waiting, while you're getting service. Typically, our customers are there for an hour to an hour and a half. We have no reason to serve them more than one during that time.
Just one drink?
Just one. 5 ounces is what we were planning because that's a standard glass of wine.
And I don't mean to put you in the spot, sir, but were you serving alcohol before you got your apply for license?
I took over in October of this year, and we have not served anything. I have not heard anything before that our time either.
Okay. Thank you.
Alder Comstock and then Alder Drangler.
I just want to ask you, as I heard and I understand that it will have an adverse effect on some of your younger clients. Are you aware of that, and that's not a problem for you, or you got a way of dealing with that?
To be realistic, I did not know that exact rule. I did read other parts of the code that I interpreted differently than that. I thought if that's going to be a condition, we're going to have to look into it and decide, because we do have unaccompanied minors do come in, obviously, for turnabout dances and spring dances and things like that.
Okay, Alder Drangler.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, Alder Comstock asked my question, but I guess I can add a little bit to it. When I read this in the packet, I asked my wife, since she has some expertise in this area, she was a nail technician to help pay for college. And her concern was there's a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids who go to the nail spa. So I just want to ask the applicants, about that, but thank you.
If I'm going to respond to that, after going through the course and being a bartender, and again, my previous life, we do have a requirement of asking for IDs, and we would have a procedure in place as I put into the application package for Sun Prairie.
Alder Baker.
And I don't know who this question goes to, but doesn't Wisconsin have, I don't know if it's a law or statute that an underage, I don't know the right word for this.
Minor?
But it is maybe a minor, but it was meant because of World War II and all of that an underaged individual can be in a bar as long as they're with their husband or spouse or a guardian and also partake.
They can
But at
be
the
in
bartender's discretion.
Yes. So if they're under 18, they are able to partake if they've got their parent, guardian, or spouse present. I think there's a weird gray area between like 18 to 21 where you are an adult but not yet a lawfully drinking adult. But you do have to have your parent present. So I think the concern that the city clerk had here, which Ms. Hilby expressed, is that if two teenage girls wanted to go get their nails done for prom or for fun or some other reason and they didn't have a guardian with them, they would no longer be able to be present in the salon.
Alder Owens.
Well, now that you know this new rule about the unaccompanied minors being there, not being able to be there, if you go this route, are you going to sit down and reconsider doing this at all?
I would like to at least know the options to go back to my other owners and explain to them the situation to decide which one is more important to our business.
Okay. Is there a way for him to withdraw this?
He could withdraw it. The other options that council does have, as City Clerk Hilby stated, you could dismiss without prejudice because that would allow you to act on the license again if he resubmitted it. Whereas with a normal denial with prejudice, he would not be able to come back for a certain time period. The other thing you could do is what Alder Jacobs asked about procedurally earlier. I would recommend tabling it to a date certain just so it's not lingering out there forever. That being said, we are having an election right now, so I'm sure the city clerk would like at least a month to kind of finish getting this in order. So if we did that, I would recommend tabling it to the second meeting in March at the earliest, and then we could come up with a policy. Obviously, applicants are always also free to withdraw their license should they so choose, but Mr. Casperson is not required to do that if he would rather have action tonight.
So that would be March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, right?
I believe that is correct.
How appropriate.
Sláinte.
Yeah. So, any further discussion?
I have a
Alder
question
Jacobs.
for Elena. It's for Elena. So I'm sorry, Rod, you'll have to step aside so she can answer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry, this is like a kind of an in the weeds
You
question.
can stay up here, Mr. Casperson.
This is kind of an in the weeds question, but I remember going to a place one time that was a coffee shop, but at night they were a bar. So there was two different functions, and I'm wondering, does our license allow that kind of latitude? It would say no alcohol before 4 p.m., no teenagers after 4 p.m. That's a question. Then.
Yeah, so this is where I have a lot of experience in Madison, where the ALRB would try to say, they would negotiate with a business and say, I promise I'm going to close down at 10. I'm not going to serve after 10. I'm not going to serve after 9. And you can do that, but there's no actual teeth in that. You can even approve it on the condition that they don't serve alcohol after 9, but that's not something you can legally do. So there's no teeth behind that law. You're not going to be able to non-renew if they don't follow through on their promise. So that is the only part. And this is, I'm sorry, it's nothing to do with you, but a promise from an applicant, even if we write it into as a condition of the license, is not actually defensible. So if you say they can do it by what state statute says.
Okay, that limits our options. Thank you.
Alder Rosas.
Mr. Casper, I neglected to ask you, you mentioned that you're going to check IDs. Who's going to check IDs?
The owners that are there at all times.
The person that has the
bartending license, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, I would ask, what's the,
I don't believe there was a motion yet, Mr. Mayor. There's been
that's why I was
presentation and
wondering what the body would like to propose here.
So I think I'll make a motion to table until the second meeting. You said at the earliest. I would actually go the second meeting in April. How's that?
Okay, most appropriately, it would be a motion to postpone until the
I'm
second
sorry.
meeting in April if you're willing to accept that friendly correction.
You're more than advisory. Yes, I'll take that. I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to postpone. And again, that was the
second meeting in April.
Which
April
is
21st.
April 21st.
April 21st.
Okay, that was what I was fishing for, April 21st. Okay, so the motion is to postpone until April 21st. Any further discussion?
Yeah, one question, Elena, does that give you enough time?
It should.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor of postponing until April 21st, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
your
Mr.
time. I appreciate it.
Casperson. We'll see you back April 21st, please. Okay, next item, approving the intergovernmental funding agreement with Dane County to authorize Tenant Resource Center to continue operations in Sun Prairie. David, are you here for them, or who's here to speak? Josh? Okay. Yeah, I was looking for Becky, but unless she's online.
Thank you, Your Honor. So this agreement is a continuation that we have had with TRC for the last 2 years. This is a partnership with Dane County. Dane County provides a little over 48% of this funding, and the City of Sun Prairie's funding comes from the Affordable Housing Fund. So this is consistent with our adopted 2026 budget, and I'm available for any questions you have about this agreement.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
I'll move to approve this.
Okay, thank you, Alder Crombie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second.
Okay, pick one.
Okay, any discussion? Alder Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. Josh, I sent, to let the council know, earlier I sent questions over to Josh just so to add clarity and about clarity and structure and kind of ensuring that we maintain appropriate oversight. And if I can do that, if I can go through the questions with your patience, there's only 5, it won't take long, but sure. He's negotiating too already. Given the current fiscal environment, does this agreement allow the city any flexibility to withdraw mid-year if conditions materially change or are fully committed once executed?
So this is an intergovernmental agreement, which is a form of contract. And per the terms, it can be terminated by mutual agreement of the parties. So that would be between the City of Sun Prairie and Dane County. Dane County is the fiscal agent. We're the kind of a second through intergovernmental agreement. So if we were to have findings that the contract's terms aren't being met or performance isn't being met, we could consult with the county about modifying or seeking to terminate the contract.
Okay. But it's not a unilateral agreement.
Correct.
Okay. So, because my concern is MOU to this agreement. MOU is kind of just an agreement. This one's a contract, and that's what gave the teeth to it. Since the county administers the purchase of services contract, what specific reporting will the city receive to evaluate measurable outcomes for the Sun Prairie residents?
So the city receives quarterly reports from Tenant Resource Center. That is the metrics that are included. They include how many households are provided with eviction, diversion, and defense partnership services, as well as housing counseling services, and the events that are a number of events that are conducted in Sun Prairie and the number of people that attend, and also to the degree that people have addresses, because not everyone does, is what zip code do they live in, and that's for tracking purposes to determine, do they live in Sun Prairie or where else they may. So TRC, Sunshine Place, and Dane County city staff also meet once a month, check in on program, discuss any program changes, how it's going, coordination between TRC and some of the other partners in Sun Prairie and Eastern Dane County. And those reports are available. The metrics were provided in the staff report that was provided with this agenda item.
I'm really concerned that it's just Sun Prairie information and not Dane County information. So we have a clear picture of the role that's being played.
Sure. So we do have the zip codes of persons who are being served. So that gives us some picture as to where the people live or where they're reporting to live, who are seeking the services. And then the metrics that are provided are counting the number of people who are encountering TRC for the various services they provide. Typically we don't get the kind of the qualitative information of these cases, but we, from time to time we hear success stories of individuals who were able to get their issues resolved or referred to for people who came to TRC.
Cool. Thank you. So if you know this, and maybe Kathleen can help too, what prompted the shift from an MOU to a formal intergovernmental agreement, and does it alter the city's legal exposure or obligations in any meaningful way?
I am not entirely sure what prompted the shift, but an intergovernmental agreement is a more appropriate agreement when you've got two governmental bodies contracting with each other. I'm not concerned about our exposure here because we're really functioning almost as kind of a pass-through for the funds. So Dane County is awarding them, we're receiving them, and then they kind of go to TRC. So it's not a huge exposure on our part, either from terms of financial risk or staff time. And TRC does carry appropriate insurance for the advice that they provide.
I actually saw it as a benefit for us, to be honest with you, in the structure of that. And then how was the 51.6% city cost share determined? Is it tied to utilization, population, or historical allocation?
When this was initially arranged a few years ago, we were seeking partners to try to stretch our dollar, and in recognition that TRC doesn't want to be turning away people if they're not a Sun Prairie resident. So at that time, we approached the county as partnering in this program. Originally, it was a 50-50 split between the two. What happened was that in the 2024 budget, the county didn't include cost of living increases in their agreements and contracts, and the city did. So we got slightly ahead of them from 50 to 51.6%. So this ratio is the same as it was last year, as the county did include those costs of business increases for this year.
Cool. Last one. Does this agreement create any expectation of continued participation beyond 2026, or will future funding continue to be evaluated annually through the budget process?
So this is part of the City Council's budget process, and the Housing Committee provides a referral on how to utilize housing funds if we continue to use that source. And this intergovernmental agreement is a one-year agreement, so it would need to be renewed each year in review of metrics and performance and things of that nature if the council wants to continue or wants to go in a different direction with their services like this.
Cool. I want to say thanks for putting this together. You guys did a nice job of formalizing this agreement. And really what I wanted to do is just let the public see what's going on and the fiscal responsibilities and oversight expectations that are out there for our council and our city. So thank you, Josh, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alder Baker, for that. Very good. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Kathleen, could we please have a roll call vote since this does have fiscal?
Yes. Rosas?
Aye.
Baker?
Aye.
Comstock?
Aye.
Crombie?
Aye.
Dringler?
Aye.
Jacobs?
Aye.
Owens?
Aye.
And that passes 8-0.
Thank you. Josh, before you go too far, approval of a development agreement for Town Hall Crossing Phase 2. You gonna tag team with Tom?
We'll tag him in if we have to. So this is a contract for delivery of public infrastructure for Town Hall Crossing. So this is part of the second phase of Habitat for Humanity subdivision on the east side. Pre-conventional development agreement for roads, stormwater, and utilities. And either Tom or I would be available for questions.
Okay, any Alder Owens?
I don't really have a question, but I did learn this morning that their plan is to build 39 units with this group, and this will be the second housing project in District 1, and I'm very excited about it.
Need a motion?
I will move approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Alder
you.
Dringler has his hand raised. Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
Alder Drangler.
Hey, I just want to comment that phase one is beautiful, and the community over there, I walked through last spring, talked to a lot of folks in phase one, and I think it was a fabulous job, and I can't wait for phase two.
Josh, this development seems to be growing faster than anticipated. Is that correct? I thought it was going to be quite a number of year build out, and it looks like they're really ramping it up.
I don't have that information offhand, so
Okay.
I would just be guessing.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Alder Owens.
Actually, at a meeting I was at this morning, I learned first this is slower than they wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've had some difficulty with raising finances. But the good news is they also have plans for phase 3 and 4.
Okay.
So they're moving along.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the development agreement for Town Hall Crossing Phase 2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Tom. Okay, next item, resolution recognizing and reaffirming Sun Prairie's commitment to community-oriented policing. City Attorney Kathleen McDaniel, please.
Sure. So this was a motion that was requested both by Council President Crombie and Alder Dringler, which is why my staff memo on this is so brief. It was drafted and prepared at the request, but I believe they could best speak to it.
Okay, who would like to speak?
I can speak for it.
Okay.
I can't see Alder Dringler in front of my laptop. This is basically a resolution recognizing and reaffirming Sun Prairie's commitment to community-oriented policing. With all the, basically with the immigration and customs enforcement in other cities, and especially our neighboring state of Minnesota, primarily Minneapolis, there's been recently conducted high visibility immigration enforcement operations in several of these cities, which have generated widespread public concern, fear, and anxiety regarding tactics, training, professionalism, and respect for civil liberties of the United States Constitution. And the police department continues to maintain focus on local public safety and community trust. And the Sun Prairie Police Department does not have statutory authority to enforce federal immigration laws, which is the responsibility of the federal government, and will only carry the role of responding to requests for assistance in matters involving public safety threats, criminal investigations unrelated to civil immigration status, or cooperation required by valid judicial warrants or court orders. So basically, this is just a resolution. To me, a lot of it has to do that we stand with Minneapolis, and we stand with our public safety, and that we support and affirm the Sun Prairie Police Department's commitment to community-oriented policing and respect for all Sun Prairie residents. And this Common Council expresses its full support for the Chief of Police, the Police and Fire Commission, and the officers of the Sun Prairie Police Department in carrying out their duties with respect for the United States Constitution and the rule of law. And the Common Council supports and affirms the policy that ALPR data will not be utilized for immigration enforcement purposes without a valid judicial warrant. So I don't know if Alder Dringler has anything else he wants to include with this,
I was going
talk
to
about with the
go
resolution.
next to Alder Drangler.
Yeah, thank you, Alder Crombie, for sharing that. And I fully support that resolution. I guess the only part that I requested be added in was the language about not sharing ALPR or that flock data camera with for purposes of immigration enforcement, with the exception of if there was a judicial warrant, because we don't want to put the police chief in that spot where he has conflicting laws. So thank you for sharing that.
And I'll make a motion that we move forward and approve this resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
I wanted to get the last one in. It's you guys.
Third. Yeah.
I know.
Thank you for that. Okay, any further discussion?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Recess.
I want to thank both Alderperson Drangler and also Crombie on this. This has been something very personal to me. I have spoken with the Hispanic community. They are afraid to go outside at night. It is something that no one has any idea how, terrifying it is, knowing that your freedom is out in the limb. Your Amendment 1 and 2, or 4, I'm sorry, are taken away. There's no due process. This is really shameful. And I'm probably going to swear here a little bit, but these are SOBs as far as I'm concerned. And they have little training to none. And they're over here shooting and hurting people. It's unacceptable. And I don't want that to come into our city. And I've said this to my colleagues. If ICE comes in here, two things will happen. It will divide this community, and it will bring in fear and chaos. So I'm going to support this wholeheartedly, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you for, this resolution to both of the alders. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That passes. Okay, next item, referrals to the Committee of the Whole. Do we have any referrals? Alder Comstock.
I'm not quite sure I want to make a referral here, but I do want to make a comment. We saw a group of people come and leave, and it was a little uncomfortable. And what's the thought in my mind is, would an audit hurt? And it actually might help staff. I don't know really what's I'm not sure what's behind all of this. I'm not sure where it's coming from. But one thing that came up last night, more than once, I think that there is no plan B. And if there is, I don't know what it is, but maybe taking a look at staffing and things like that might help develop that. So I'm not sure if I want to make a referral on that, but I think it's worth some discussion, at least. If staff are not feeling good, none of us are going to feel good. I don't know that that's how staff feel or not, but you hear this, and there might be a way to help with that. And I don't know exactly what the way of doing something for that might be, but it feels like some help needs to be given. So I guess I'll just make that comment and see how things go.
Mr. Mayor, question?
Yes.
If I may. So does this need to go to Cal, or because we're speaking about it at council, can it stay with council?
Well, just for clarification, our City Attorney, would you like to speak, please?
I would be happy to. My suggestion would be that if council wants to discuss this, we would do it as a referral to the committee of the whole. And then we would be able to notice it in closed session so we could have a more full and frank discussion. There are reasons behind some of the departures that I am not at liberty to publicly speak about, and there have been some claims made regarding some departures that are demonstrably false. So I think that would give us the opportunity to have a full and free discussion if that was the wish of the council.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay. Alder Owens.
Before the meeting tonight, I knew the presentation was going to be made, and I promised that I would listen. And it seems to me that if people have concerns, if people do have accusations, we need to find it out. And it seems to me it would be good for both the administration and the people making the claims that they are to let's open up the box, look inside, and see what's going on. So I would support this referral.
Okay. So again, Alder Comstock, is that your intent?
I pity Pandora, but but I think that probably would be a good idea, and I think it's something that will help people feel better.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has the potential to do that.
Alder Rosas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too will support this. I was hesitant for about over a year. I have heard a lot of things that were not positive, and I think this will bring some things up to light. It may just be some false allegations, but we should find out. As a council, we should at least meet it head on. So I will be supporting this referral. Thank you.
Okay. Any other referrals? Okay. Oh, sorry. Alder Dringler.
Oh, sorry. Actually, it wasn't a referral, but just rather a question about the process. So the issue on the table right now is a potential referral to COW for a discussion on just like the scope and feasibility of like a management performance audit of city administration. Am I understanding this correctly?
I believe that was the referral made by Alder Comstock, and I don't want to speak specifically to her intent. I can talk a little bit more about procedurally how that could go if that's the path we're choosing to go down. So obviously, normally when items are brought before council or COW, there's a staff member kind of supporting them, not necessarily supporting them as I'm in favor of, but sort of helping council gather that information and data. Normally, it's pretty clear cut. You know, you want a new ordinance, you're talking to the attorney or the clerk. You want something from the police department, you talk to the police chief. This is a unique situation because the request was for an audit into administration, and administration means different things to different people. Some people would view that as just the administrator. Some would view that as anyone who works in the administrator's office. Some would view that as the administrator, the assistant administrator, and myself. Like, that's a nebulous term. So my suggestion would be, I am an independent statutory officer. I don't like to remind Aaron of this very often, but technically he cannot fire me. That would be a decision of the Common Council. I hope we never come to that point, to be clear. So my suggestion would be I can try to put some information together and present it for you in closed session at that COW meeting. And then if necessary, either because you want to talk about me or you want to have a conversation outside of staff's presence, I can excuse myself from the room. My feelings will not be hurt. But that would hopefully prepare some information as to a path you could take forward.
Okay, we good?
Could I just to clarify, basically what we're saying right now is we feel like we need to do something, but we don't know what, okay? And this process will help us get to that point where what to do might become clearer. And it could be nothing, and it could be auditing, as was suggested, or it could just simply be just having conversation. So, but we don't know what the what is yet, and that's what this process will help sort out. Is that what that what you're suggesting?
That is very much my suggestion. So thank you for picking that up. I wasn't sure how articulate I was. So I think ultimately we would put the subject of a possible management performance audit on the agenda to discuss, because we are discussing allegations being levied against specific individuals, to my knowledge, based on the recordings that were previously received by council and that apparently will be received again tomorrow. I would suggest we can have a conversation about if that was to be reviewed, how it would look, what council would want to do if you wanted to do something. And then we can also discuss some of the separations that have occurred, frankly and freely. And then I think at that point, council can make a decision as to whether or not you want to move forward with the management performance audit, whether or not you want to table the item, whether you want to go some entirely different direction.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everyone comfortable? Okay, any further referrals? Okay, hearing none, announcements. Any announcements? Alder Baker.
Had a wonderful time Monday night before our little get-together at the town hall with one of the dens for Webelos. And they sat proudly in their chairs as each one of them became a mayor for the night. And they walked in and they saw their name with mayor underside. And one of the kids walked up, I think it was Ethan, and had to have the gavel and had to hit it. I said, Mayor Stalker, we'll be calling you. But it was just a wonderful time. And the scouts were learning about our process that we follow. And it involved Culver's, what was it? Chipotle, McDonald's, and what was the other one? Happy Walk. And who would decide? And so they actually argued over it for a while. It reminded me of Rex and Jacob. And so I don't know, but I think Happy Walk is what came out the winner. But it was a lot of fun, and it was good just to be involved in the community like that and to be approached to do something like that.
I saw the post from Tara Freund.
Did you?
Congrats to you. Very good.
I favor Happy Walk. Rex lost that one.
Oh, man, those dumplings are priceless.
Okay, any further announcements? If not, I want to make one. I would like to thank, Casey, Alder Drengler.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, my apologies for not being there in person tonight. My little guy has a fever, so I had to stay home with him. But I would like to recognize that today is Lunar New Year. This is a very important holiday. As you know, my family is part Vietnamese, and this is equivalent to Christmas for us. And it's we call it Tet in Vietnamese. So we like to gather together with other Vietnamese families. We did that over the weekends and celebrate, share really good food. Also, it's important to our Hmong community, to our Chinese community, to many Asian and Southeast Asian communities. So just want to wish a happy Tet and a happy Lunar New Year to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Alder Drengler. Yeah. Happy Lunar New Year to you also and your family. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, I just want to thank our celebrity city clerk for tonight, Kathleen.
You are welcome. I will be more than happy to return this duty to City Clerk Hilby at the next meeting, but she was busy both with election duties as well as presenting 2 items. So I will happily rejoin the city administrator at our table in March.
You've done an exemplary job. We really thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We are adjourned.